Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, Alex, and Nate.
We're all here. Gang's all here.
Gang is all here. Today is Monday, October 3rd. Oh, wait. We have a call coming in. We're going to interrupt the regularly scheduled episode for a live look at Aaron Judge at bat. And he's been walked.
Not okay. Not okay. Makes me so angry when they do that.
Head into football this weekend, all to just watch him get walked on like 4 or 5 pitches.
Oh, so stupid.
Almost every time.
You're not allowed to walk in because we might be cutting into someone else's enjoyment for you.
Right. Again, today is Monday, October 3rd. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. We are on the promo train, gents. On the promo train to get to 100 YouTube subscribers by the end of the month.
We can do it.
We need to get everybody on board. Everybody needs to do the things that we talk about all the time. Tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a loyal listener and you're listening right now and you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, Sports Stuff W/Jim Ampersand Muff, what the hell are you doing with your life?
Shame on you.
You're messing up. You're messing up.
I question your loyalty to the Loyal Listener Club if you're not subscribed on YouTube yet.
I agree.
Just so you know, there will be prizes on the other side of this whole promotional campaign. Once we get to 100, then we're going to shoot for 1,000. Then we're going to keep going. Rocket ship to the moon, peeps. That's how it's going to be.
To the moon, Alice.
Remember, other ways to engage with us. Follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter. Sports Stuff W/Jim Ampersand Muff on Facebook, YouTube. What are all the things they can do with on the social medias, Alex?
Tickle, like, poke, share, double tap,
retweet,
booty bump. I actually don't know what
Triple.
that one is. I just set that up.
Triple stamp, a double stamp.
Yep.
Is that a social media thing?
I don't know.
Is that on your?
Don't have all the things you possibly could do.
Is that on your VPN Tinder account, Jim?
Could be. Could be.
It is towards the end of the football season, or the end of the baseball season, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 60-99, one win away from the elusive, although not in Pittsburgh, 100-loss season.
Good grief.
Do you think they'll win out to even take that from us?
The win out? No, they're not going to win out.
To win the
No.
next 13 games or whatever. And
No, that's not allowed. That's not going to happen.
Wait, there's only 3 games left or
6 games.
6 games.
Just stop. Stop playing yourself. Just stop.
Nate, do you have any thoughts on the Pirates baseball season?
They're making the 100 losses.
Is that you speaking ill of your employer?
No, it is not. If anything, at this point, he might as well be like, what's her name off of, what is it? Major League.
Oh,
Mm.
yikes.
Yes.
Yikes, Nate. If you can't tell, Jim has a little bit different audio situation. He's joining us like Peyton Manning was for the Pat McAfee broadcast of the Clemson NC State game.
Couldn't be as bad as Phillip Rivers. You could barely hear Phillip Rivers.
I can't really see Phillip Rivers being very technologically savvy to help that situation either.
Yeah, it was rough.
It's probably
It was
10. It's probably yes. I think we're on the same wavelength there, Alex.
Yeah, I was gonna say 13 kids are on the Wi-Fi. It's really slowed
Right.
it down.
So this is NFL Week 4, and we are now going to get into the NFL breakdown.
Breakdown.
First, we start on Thursday Night Football. Dolphins at Bengals. In a game that was overshadowed by a very, very scary moment involving Tua, the Bengals prevail 27-15 in Thursday Night Football behind 287 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns from Joe Burrow, with T. Higgins going over 100 receiving yards with a score. Typically, we would reserve the conversation about Tua's concussion and everything that's fallen out from that for quick thoughts, but I think this is a little bit more important to chat about at the beginning of an episode.
I don't know what there is to talk about, in my opinion. They cleared him to play. They shouldn't have cleared him to play, and this is what you get.
My only argument is, did he truly pass? Like, I would want to see, did he truly pass all of the tests?
Well,
Because
the doctor who cleared him is fired for missing a bunch of stuff. When Chris Nowinski, the guy who's leading all the CT stuff in his institute, says tweets before the game, you guys are screwing up and you're probably going to cost him his career, and a bunch of lawsuits, and then whoop, there it is. Something was missed.
Yeah.
You think Miami was trying to pay that doctor under the table like they're trying to do Brian Flores?
Maybe.
Somebody somewhere did something they shouldn't have. That's it. That's all I got to say on it. Somebody screwed up.
Yeah. Somebody let something go that they shouldn't have let go.
Absolutely.
The only question I have is, what else did he mess up? Because I said it's multiple, so there's got to be more than just that situation.
Oh, yeah. You guys have seen Any Given Sunday, right?
Yes.
I feel like that's the doctor from Any Given Sunday.
Can he play? Yeah, he can play.
I feel like it would be like Muff being the doctor. Here's some tussin. Get back out there.
Oh, whoa. Let's not put Muff in the evil category yet. Now,
Well, I'm not saying
Muff does
evil,
have a thing for tussin.
Okay, now real question. A concussion technically is an internal wound, so yes, tussin would be the cure. Yeah, tussin it is. The NFLPA and the NFL come out with a joint statement about rules moving forward this season, which include players being taken out for the entirety of a game if they if they look like, appear to be, or are wobbly after being hit or being taken down, whatever it may be. And higher attention to the overall implementation of these policies is supposed to be happening. This is obviously a very specific and glaring example of where things have gone wrong with player safety. What else can we think of in recent memory where we've had questions?
Tyrod Taylor.
Wow.
Oh, God. Screw you, Nate.
That was Nate that brought it up, not me. So.
My question I have a question to Nate. Off to answer your question, I have no idea. But my question to Nate and for the group, I remember there were supposed to be spotters in college football looking for this. Like those, oh, wait, he's stumbling. Let's pull him out.
And
Are we still doing that? And Nate, who's looking out for those symptoms at the high school level? Is it on the coaches? Is it on you?
If we see something with a player, we have the right to send them out and say, hey, coach, look at number 4 before you send him back in. But, I mean, it's different. So in West Virginia, they can have a doctor on the team sideline or something like that can look at them and they can release them to come back in. But in Ohio, if they go out for concussion-like symptoms, they're done. They don't have anybody on the sideline that can sign off and bring him back in.
I will tell you this much. When I was in high school, and I didn't play football, but I know the doctors that they had on the sidelines, I hope to God that the doctors on the sidelines in West Virginia, is there liabilities that the doctor then holds on them?
Yeah, because they basically are assuming the assuming the risk of if you're an MD or there's like 7 different things they can be that can diagnose a concussion or whatever to send a player in or keep them out. And I can't remember all 7 of them, but yeah, I mean, they take the risk. We can say, hey, take a look at number 9. He looks a little woozy or whatever, and we can send him out. But we can't
go back to the first Tua thing. Mm-hmm. You see Tua stumble, fall, get back up, go to the sideline. Second half, he comes back in the game. At a high school level, if you're reffing a West Virginia game,
mm-hmm.
and you, the ref, see that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? Wait, let me look. I'm not going to put this on Nate. What are you, the referee, supposed to do? Like, what is your response?
So if they bring him back in the game, then to us that means that he got looked at by whoever on the sideline, and they deemed he's good enough to play. But again, if he looks like anything's wrong with him, we can continue to send him out. I mean, at that point,
stop. So, are you stopping the game?
Yes. For any signs or symptoms of concussion, we can stop the game and send that player out at any time.
That makes sense. I mean, I think you're a neutral party, and I kind of think that maybe that's it. Instead of a team doctor clearing, maybe the team doctor clears, but like you said, a spotter, you could call it, or something similar, who could be like a neutral party that's like, hey, that hit was too big for him to come back that quick.
Well, I thought that was happening in college.
Or like an accountability thing, like a review. So like, okay, the doctor says he's good. Like, okay, you said he's good. Now let me look at this and like run this personal test, because there's like a non-affiliated doctor. And I thought that was part of it, was that these neuro like people, whatever, they're supposed to be a non-affiliated with the NFL neuro doctor who checked these people out before they went back in. So I don't know what his, I guess.
And this guy supposedly was independent.
And I think that's for me. I'm like, what do you get from saying, hey, yeah, you can play versus, hey, no, you can't play. If you're not affiliated with the team, it's not like they can cut you.
No, but the NFL will fire him.
Yeah, yes, but I'm saying like I would have been on the side of cautiousness and be like, no, he can't play.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you were
getting tickets to the front row, unless you kept getting tickets to the front row and you had owners' boxes and rent a Lambo, and it's a dirty game.
I know. I think I like to think the best of people, but you're right.
All right. Any final words on that? Any final words on that topic?
I think it's very interesting. This is to Nate. I think it's very interesting that you, sir, have the responsibility at the high school level to say, get the hell out. And if they send them back out to you, you have to keep saying, get the hell out. Like, do you have the ability to stop the game completely and be like, you send that guy back out here again, you lose?
No, we can't make anybody forfeit a game like that, but we can tell them, send this kid out and don't send him back in. I mean, that's like if we get to a situation where if two kids start shoving each other after the play over and over again, we might say, send him to the sideline and say, Coach, you talk to him. Don't send him back into the next series or until you get him calmed down.
All right.
Okay, Sunday. No, you're good. Sunday morning football in England, in London. Vikings versus Saints across the pond without Jameis Winston. The Saints seemed like sitting ducks. But they put up a hell of a fight against the Vikings, succumbing 28-25 with a last-second field goal attempt. Doing the double doink, doink, doink. Justin Jefferson returns to the form we all expect to see from him, adding a rushing touchdown to 147 receiving yards. We have another game like this next week, too, Sunday morning football.
I know.
I can't believe we missed this.
Like, missed talking about the fact that it would be Sunday morning?
Yeah. I woke up and I was like, oh, wait, I got points on the board in my fantasy league. What the hell happened?
That was, there were a lot of, I saw some tweets out this morning about people who had players that were questionable going into this game, Alvin Kamara, and yeah.
Once you forget, you're kind of screwed.
Can't do much there.
Yeah, I lucked out and got that notification in the morning. Said, "Ooh, I gotta get him out of my mind."
There you go. Next, Seahawks versus Lions in a game that saw DK Metcalf carted to the locker room to go potty. The Lions can't make it work without several key team pieces, losing to Geno Smith. You heard it, Alex. Geno Smith and the Seahawks, 48-45, despite their best efforts. Geno Smith with 320 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air and 1 on the ground, joined by Rashad Penny, who had 150-plus rushing yards and 2 scores.
He had a rushing touchdown, too. Jim, any comments?
No.
I had to laugh. I sent you guys the tweet. I wasn't sure if you saw that, but DK Metcalf just tweeted, that clinch walk wouldn't have made it.
Oh my God.
That man needed the ride, or else he was going to get in pants in the locker room as well. So Lions still going to Super Bowl, Alex?
Yep.
Okay, stay on that train. Browns Falcons. The Falcons show they're not going to lie down this season, stealing a 23-20 win away from the Browns thanks to a balanced attack and key conversions.
No. That is a horrible breakdown.
Oh,
Horrible.
Because you have the opportunity to do all of these as well.
That is a horrible breakdown. The rest of them are good, but that is a horrible breakdown.
Go ahead,
The
Jim.
Browns
Break the
lost because they have Jacoby Brissett at the wheel. That's why they lost. Plain and simple.
Brissett had a
Jacoby
nice
Brissett.
touchdown run.
He threw that interception at the end of the game,
game. One thing he did. Got it.
and that's what lost the game. If he had looked at the open receiver in the middle of the field, that would not have happened.
Was Odell Beckham Jr. back? Was his father spitting together tape?
I would. Jacoby Brissett showed why he is not the starter in a regular situation, and he is holding a spot for massage envy.
So you're saying one play makes Jacoby Brissett bad quarterback? One individual play?
Yep.
So Jacoby Brissett with his one bad play is the reason that they lost?
Absolutely. It was a jabroni game the whole time. It was, all right, you score, then we score, then you score, then we score. And it was the Browns' turn to score, and Jacoby Brissett dropped the ball on that one. Shout out to Joe for bringing me another Jack Coke.
Next, Commanders taking on the Cowboys in a rivalry game. The Cowboys and Cooper Rush keep the train a-rolling, beating the Commanders 25-10. The bad version of Carson Wentz showed up in this one with 2 interceptions. Cooper Rush tossing for 2 TDs in this one.
Cooper Rush throwing the ball to the man.
How about them unis on the Commanders?
They were pretty nice.
They looked like the Steelers, but like a new version of the Steelers with the black and yellow. Wasn't it black and yellow, or am I colorblind?
No, it was like a dark. I thought it was like a charcoal gray and red and yellow.
Okay, I liked it. Cool unis.
I think they were nice.
Cool unis.
Titans taking on the
Not
Colts.
Wait, Muff, are we saying it's not a rivalry game? Is that what we're saying still? You're still on that? I just want clarification.
Yeah. It's not the R words playing the Cowboys, it's the Commanders.
Got it. I really want Random Guru Wilk to chime in on this. So, Random Guru Wilk, if you're listening, is this still a rivalry as a Cowboys fan?
Titans Colts. In the can the Colts get any worse saga?
Oh,
they can. Going down early and not able to recover en route to a 24-17 loss to the Titans. Matt Ryan tosses an interception, puts the ball on the ground. Derrick Henry does get a 100-yard rushing game and a touchdown.
So Joe comes at me, again, shout out to Joe. Joe comes at me and is like, why does my fantasy team suck? And I was like, I don't know, I haven't looked at it. She hands me her team today and was like, why does it suck? I was like, oh, because Taylor hasn't ran like he used to last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it sucked. So why isn't he running like he used to? And I said that like either last episode or the episode before, but like, what's the sitch?
Well, now he's not going to be running because he hurt his ankle. And he was out for part of the, I think, at least part of the fourth quarter. I don't know how much though.
All right, Joe, if you're listening, there's your one help me from the show.
But before then, it's because Matt Ryan couldn't do anything. So again, they're just keying on the run.
Yeah.
Bears Giants. Giants continued a strong start, beating the hapless Bears 20-12. Justin Fields did get over on his passing yards over under. It was the lowest line for the over under in passing ever in the NFL. I think ever is as long as betting has been mainstream in the NFL. Not very much though. I think it was like 148 something, and he had like 170.
I can't see this game because I'm in Columbus and I don't have access to it. Are they just rushing him to like out of that pocket, or what's the situation with him and throwing?
He can't throw the ball.
Yeah, he's just not very good.
Got it. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, they just could be. I mean, there may be other contributing factors like the line's not great, but the line's good enough to block for Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery, so it can't be that bad.
I've loved watching on the other side of the ball. I've loved watching Saquon Barkley again. He looks good.
Yeah, he had 146 on the ground. Daniel Jones had 2 rushing touchdowns. Giants are 3-1.
I watched him clean. I watched Saquon Barkley clean an exorbitant amount of weight that was just insane. So, as much as he's from Penn State and I hate that, that man can lift some weight.
Yeah. Like once he starts breaking, like once he gets like downhill 5 yards, just like that little bit of momentum, like watching people just kind of fall off.
Yeah.
And Jim, just so you know, Justin Fields doesn't really have any targets either. That's, I think, a main part of the problem.
I can't watch a damn Bears game to save my life. Like here in Columbus, we get nothing.
He is Equanimous St. Brown, Darnell Mooney, right?
And Cole Kmet. Right. All household names. Jags-Eagles. The Eagles stumble early, but find themselves staying unbeaten and getting a 29-21 win over the Jaguars. Miles Sanders, 2 touchdowns, 100-plus rushing yards to pace the Eagles. The NFL least may not be so much this year. What do we think? The NFC least, rather.
Because of the Giants and the Eagles?
And the Cowboys.
Not the Cowboys. I'm more in.
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
I'm more in on it because, like, the Cowboys should be good most years. The Giants and the Eagles have, like, notoriously had a lot of downtime. And more so than anything, the Giants, watching them kind of pop back up to be a little bit of something. I don't think they're the NFC least this year. I think that...
I hate the Eagles. I hate the Eagles. Like, for some reason, I am just... The fact that Jalen Hurt is making this work chaps my ass.
But why?
I don't know. Like, because he's not supposed to make this happen. Like, this experiment should not be working, and it is. And I think that's what bothers
me. What's the experiment here?
Travis Kelce.
He wasn't your prototypical, like, quarterback. Like, he wasn't supposed to be the guy. And now he's, like, making it work, and I'm just like, I hate you.
I think he's making it work where so many other quarterbacks who had similar grades or doubts coming in have not.
Yeah.
He's breaking the trend. I'll agree to that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Jets Steelers, Alex.
First, hold up. That was me. T's and P's to the spectator who, after the game, fell out off the escalator and died at Ayrshire Stadium. T's and P's to that guy.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, that just popped up. So, crazy. I don't think I've been in that stadium. So is this escalator, like, super high?
Is it like
it really say, did it, like, fall off the side of the escalator or fall down the escalator?
I guess off the side. We don't have details yet. Details are still sketchy. They're still investigating it, but I'm assuming off the side.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. I'm assuming the escalators I've been on there. Yeah, there is room to fall off the side, but
the cause of the fall is currently under investigation.
Yeah,
so I wonder if he getting a tool and trying to ride the.
Whoa, T's and P's.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm talking about the different ways you could fall off one. I'm not saying he did that, but I would think either trying to sit and slide down the rail or getting in a fight and someone kind of.
Maybe it was a rush. Maybe he just didn't see it. Or she, we keep saying. Who knows?
It says a man is dead, so that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. Just T's and P's.
Yes.
All right, the under hits on the number of games till Kenny Pickett steps in at quarterback for the Steelers. but even he can't get the Steelers out of their free fall. Zach Wilson returns for the Jets and leads them to a 24-20 win in Pittsburgh. Wilson led a last-minute fourth-quarter drive to pull the Jets on top after a costly interception by Kenny Pickett, his third of the game, which only happened in one half.
One of his wasn't his fault.
Yeah, two of them weren't his fault.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the whole second half. I'm not gonna lie.
The Hail Mary at the end, it was not his fault. He's just
Yeah.
throwing it up there to grab. The first one he threw
That's what I was thinking.
was should have been knocked down by the receiver or something. I'm not putting it on
Hot.
him. I didn't see the middle one, so I don't know.
That last one,
But
the last one was his fault.
I am not what the Hail Mary,
No. The last one, as in
The third,
the middle one.
the one that he threw too tall for Pat Fryermuth at a time when he
Sure.
should have just threw it away.
Now let's talk for a second. Let's break this down for a second. Now, to all my fellow Yinzer haters, I'm about to make a massive betrayal. Yes, I did have money on this game. I am wearing the Pitt shirt today, which I usually wear on podcast night, but I'm wearing this in support of Kenny Pickett.
not to piss me off.
Not to piss you off. And I was wondering if you would feel some type of way, but I'm wearing this in support of Kenny Pickett. I'm glad they're putting him out there. I'm not going to let him take any shit for today's game. And if they play him and they treat him right, I may lean towards some Steeler love. I may talk less shit on the Steelers. But Tomlin, at the end of that game, he looked like that gif with Homer going back into the back of the bushes. Like, there was no emotion. He was just like, I'm going to keep walking backwards. What's his deal this year, guys?
I mean, he puts himself out there for the press conferences, but unless it's an emotional game, he's usually not doing anything of too much. You're not going to see too much of him during the game unless it's an emotional part.
You're about to lose to the damn Jets. You should be getting emotional.
There's nothing to do at the time of the game. You go back, you ream everybody out behind closed doors, and you move on.
I think Tomlin's seat is a little warm tonight. Is all I'm saying.
Okay,
No.
you were
He's never had a
absolutely
losing
crazy.
Just a little warm. Getting warm if you lose to the Jets. That's all I'm saying.
No, you're crazy. I
All
agree
right.
off on that one. I appreciate everything you said prior to that, but he's not on the hot seat.
Nate,
I didn't say
is
hot.
Tomlin
I
on the hot
said
seat?
warm.
No, he's on the hot seat.
Is he in a warm seat?
Maybe warm from sitting in a seat, but not.
Bills Ravens. The Ravens jump out quick with a jump start from returning running back J.K. Dobbins, but the Bills figure it out in the second half and hold the Ravens scoreless, winning 23-20 on a walk-off field goal by Tyler Bass. The Bills improved 3-1, and the Ravens are now 2-2. Josh Allen led the Bills in passing and rushing, accounting for 2 touchdowns, while Lamar Jackson struggled through the air, tossing 2 interceptions, only getting 147 yards from his arm. Ravens tossed this one away, plain and simple. They had this one in hand.
Yes.
In addition to
yes.
Jim Harbaugh being an absolute bonehead for going for it on 4th and goal from like the 5 with about 4 minutes left with the game tied. And then after the game, not only does he make the bonehead move, but then he defends it, saying, well, it was the right move because we had to put more points on the board because pretty much we were worried about the Bills. They had too much time left. You don't take points off the board when you have a 20-yard field goal in hand to go up with 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Say about a hardball mentality.
I don't know. The Ravens just looked like at the end, like they wanted to give that touchdown up to get 2 more minutes left, but then like half the team wanted to never give up anything. The other half wanted to go with the plan. Harbaugh did not look like a damn leader at the end. It was disheveled. That's the way to describe the end of that game. Disheveled.
It looked like a Chargers head coach, Jim. That's what it looked like to me.
No, that is not true. You shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Says the person who last year
Hold
just
on.
absolutely lambasted the Chargers head coach.
Large distinction. Large distinction.
One's a winning coach.
Yes. Another one is the Chargers guy. Okay. What he does is he blames everything on math. Harbaugh had no math there. He kind of got ahead of himself and like went on tilt. The Chargers guy would have been like, the math said we should do this shit, and it makes no sense. Two different trains of thought.
Okay. Chargers-Texans. Chargers do what they're supposed to do in this one, taking out the Texans 34-24 behind a huge game from Austin Eckler. 3 total touchdowns. Justin Herbert had 2 touchdowns, 300-plus passing yards. Interesting note, as I was looking up some of the box score information on this, only one Texans player recorded a rush throughout the entire game, and that was Dameon Pierce, who had 14 carries for 131 yards.
That's bizarre.
The only one that had a rushing stat. Not even a stat, the only one who got a carry.
This is the first time the Chargers had won against the Texans in like 5 outings. I did not know that until it popped up on the screen. Why did the Chargers game pop up on the screen in Columbus? I don't know, but I've watched more Chargers games since I moved to Columbus than I ever have. Makes no damn sense.
The gods were with you.
Is Jim still with us?
I don't know. He's moving.
Okay. Justin
I'm
Herbert.
happy about it, but like, you got me?
Yeah, you're back now.
All right, yeah.
Jim, Justin Herbert still on the mend?
No,
He's 100% now?
I think he's good.
Cards-Panthers. Shoving match in this one, but the Cards win 26-16 thanks to Kyler Murray, 23-32 with 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Baker, 23-36, 197, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Panthers can't get enough offense in 0-run game. Kyler Murray says the new maps aren't enough to keep him from beating Baker Mayfield and the dog shit Panthers.
Holy shit. Sorry,
What?
watching a play. Did you see that, Nate?
The one that's going on right now?
Somebody's ahead.
Yeah, you must be a little bit ahead of me, but yeah, I just watched it. It's like watching Madden.
It's Pat Mahomes being Pat Mahomes. He
Got it.
literally like does like twisting, turning things like to get away from defender, and then he goes like this and shoots it over the line like a basketball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
For a tutty.
Yes.
For a tutty.
So
Sorry, distracted. We
to get back to the Cards-Panthers game,
Sorry.
can we just say Cards money line, baby? Muff's a genius.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was not a tough sell in my mind.
I still say Muff's a genius.
What's the shoving match?
Apparently there was a shoving match. I saw highlights of it between the two teams. I don't really know why, but that was like the highlight of the game because the Panthers did dog shit on the ground. So I don't really have anything else to say about the game. Kyler Murray did Kyler Murray things. Baker didn't do a lot. And for having McCaffrey back there, they didn't do a lot on the ground.
Now, when you said shoving contest, I thought you were talking about Ohio State Rutgers early.
We'll get to
Hey,
that.
we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm excited for that.
Patriots versus Packers. The Patriots lose back up Hoyer in the first half, and Western Kentucky's Bailey Zappi becomes the first rookie to toss a touchdown pass this season in the NFL. Chess match between Bill Belichick and Aaron Rodgers continues with the game going to overtime. Aaron Rodgers comes out victorious with a Mason Crosby field goal as time expires in overtime. The Packers win 27-24.
Yeah, I didn't have much to say on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Romeo Dobbs almost had an awesome game-winning touchdown catch, but he did not survive the ground.
Almost. He almost did.
I will say there's an internet theory out there that Belichick is trying to submarine his own career to get out of his contract with Robert Kraft. Saw that today.
Trying to what?
Submarine his own career to get out of the contract with Robert
He just
Kraft.
doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. He doesn't have like Gronk anymore. He doesn't have the great guys he had for so long. He's just down.
And they were,
So
on their
like-
they were on their third string quarterback. What do we expect today? Today, at least.
It had nothing to do with today's game. It was all about pissing off Tom Brady and like tanking seasons and getting the rookie hurt. And he's doing a lot of things to purposely like, and the way he drafts and like all of these things he was doing. I mean, it was viable, not 100% viable, but viable. That it wasn't a bad strategy.
I'm going to say this is total conspiracy. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, he's just
That's
going
what I
to
led with.
He's not going anywhere. He's going to retire and be done. He's in his 70s, for goodness sakes.
Hey, you're not wrong.
So he's just that'd be not just getting out of his contract, just wants to retire.
Could be.
We'll see. Broncos, Raiders. The Raiders rode all over Russ Wilson and the Broncos in this one, racking up 212 rushing yards, led by Josh Jacobs. Devontae Adams, 100-plus yard game. Raiders beat the Broncos 32-23 and get their first win of the season.
That was a must-win game for the Raiders.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. Nate, I hate to ask this, but how's the live looking?
It's 21-3 Mahomes.
Chiefs Bucks 21-23 Chiefs. Not looking good for the Bucks in this one. How many guys are still hurt for the Bucks, Nate? Just curious.
Godwin and Julio are both playing tonight, and I think the tackle Donovan Smith is back as well. But so I think they're starting to finally get healthy. I know they got a couple backup receivers still banged up, but I mean they just need to get healthy. Even if they lose tonight, with the amount of injuries they've had, coming off 2-2 with that gauntlet of 4 games is still not impressive. But it could have been a lot worse.
Here we go. And Rams 49ers in Monday Night Football. What are our thoughts going into this game?
I don't care.
I don't know. If the I missed the Rams. I don't feel like this year they've clicked yet. They haven't had like a very good like game yet. But they're the same team. I mean, minus like OBJ. I don't know.
Do they need Antonio Brown? Sit poolside?
Nobody needs.
Yeah,
that.
they need him to go play
Jesus.
D.
Talk about things that we're going to get out of quickly. I'm sorry I even said it.
Yeah.
Who are our picks in this game? I'm on the 49ers.
I think I'm on the Rams to win.
This is straight up, right? I'm on the right show.
This is
Mhm.
straight up.
Yeah.
I'm on the Rams to win.
Nate?
Rams.
Rams it is. I am the dissenter. That wraps up NFL Week 4 in the NFL and brings us right into
College football breakdown.
Cut college.
college. First, we'll start
Let's
in the
talk
top.
about this. I'm excited.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why you get to start everything. I'm excited. Before we begin, can we all just state that the college football lineup, none of us were enthused.
No.
And can we say that I had no clue Pat McAfee was doing his thing for college football?
Game day?
No,
Game
his
day or the
nighttime
evening thing?
game. The
Yeah,
evening thing.
that was put together later in the week, I think. It was something that was
So-
not necessarily planned.
So was this his first one?
I think so, right? I'm
Yeah,
not.
He said something a few weeks ago that they were going to do that for like maybe 5 or 6 games
I was
this year.
gonna say he has like
Mhm.
contracted for like a few like
Love it. Love it. This week's college football.
Few too many people in the Thunderdome there.
Sure, we can work out some kinks, but this week's college football lineup turned out to be entertaining, and Pat McAfee makes things better.
because he's a mountaineer.
He never graduated.
Go ahead and ask him if he's a mountaineer.
He's
All
a-
right.
He's a user too, Jim. So I see you're starting to change your ways or your opinions.
Hey, Yinzers are still Yinzers, but let's go.
Are you doing it or?
Yeah, you got real
I like where
butthurt. You got real butthurt whenever I started to go.
All right, number 1, Georgia survives against Missouri in a game that they didn't lead until the final minutes. They win 26-22. Thoughts on this, as they're still ranked number 1 when the AP poll, or number 2?
Yes.
They're in the top 2 after this game.
Do you think that this was just overlooking Missouri?
No.
I expected them to come out more on fire after the way they played against Kent.
I think this is just the schedule. Yes, I think they played down to their competition. This is not the Georgia we're going to see against the top SEC teams.
Shut the fuck up.
Plain and simple.
Shut up.
What? Do you think Missouri's that good or Georgia's that bad?
I think there's a chink in Georgia's army.
No, you are high. Georgia looks
No
great.
way. No, they did not look great. This is not the Georgia that I said give them the title now. They struggled against Kent and Missouri. I watched the Missouri game. They look kind of disheveled. This is not Thanos of college football. If I'm Georgia, I'm worried.
Yeah, I think you got to be the way you performed the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now you go real SEC play. They play Auburn next week.
That's
Granted,
not real SEC play yet.
No, but I mean, I would give Auburn the edge over Missouri.
Listen to Muff. Muff sees Penn State beat the shit out of Auburn, and now he just poo-poos all over Auburn. All right,
Just
number
I
2,
feel like we've been having
Alabama.
this conversation about Wisconsin for like a week now.
Oh, we're going to get to Wisconsin. Number 2, Alabama gets a scare with Bryce Young going out of the game, and Arkansas gets it close, but the Tide run away with it 49-26. Is Bryce Young really hurt? Like hurt bad? Or are we going to see his face next week?
Got a question because he has a sprained shoulder.
Like,
I
is he
think
going to play next week?
Who do they play next week?
That's the question.
I don't
That's
know.
the thing.
Let's take a look. I don't know if my internet will hold up.
Texas
Try to do
A&M. It was already stated.
this. I'm sorry. See, Wi-Fi screwed me up. I think he has to play, right?
He doesn't have to play.
Against A&M, I don't think he has to play.
Listen to you
If
guys
A&M
talking
have
shit.
expectations, yes, but the A&M as of right now, he does not.
I think it might be one of those. Could you see them saying yes, he's active, starting their backup, and then if it gets like starts getting rocky, putting him in?
Yes, that's an excellent take.
That's what I would do if I were them. Like not risk hurting him because if the team's like blowing him out, no reason to, but have him on retainer.
Did anybody see the? Yes, I agree with you. Great point. Did anybody see Nick Saban after this game?
Yeah, with that interview about asking questions.
Loved it. That female reporter took Nick Saban and said, "I don't give a shit." Nick Saban instantly came to her and was like, "We are not going to talk about Bryce Young," and she was like, "Okay, let's not, Nick, not today," and like totally made him look like an asshat. Brilliant move on her. I like her a lot. So, is Alabama in the top 2 with or without Bryce Young?
I don't think we've seen enough without him to say
Yeah.
that.
Well, you saw a whole half without him. That's why I'm asking.
Well, you
Yeah,
saw a
but
whole
there-
half of them pouring it on and pulling
Yeah,
away.
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, but they had two chunk plays from that running back of 70+ yards. So
Could anything there too. So definitely not number 1.
Who's won then, Alex?
Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're moving on.
Georgia, Alabama still 1-2. Done.
Okay, and I'm not going to argue with you guys yet. I wanted to hear your opinions. Number 5, Clemson takes care of business in a top 10 matchup, beating number 10 NC State 30-20 with the Pat McAfee show highlights, Muff? What do you want to say there?
Do you
This is your breakdown, Jim.
do you feel any different about Clemson now, Jim?
No,
Do you still think they're
I
bad?
do not. I don't think they're great.
Okay.
They
I do
covered.
not. That's your guys' thing. I don't think they're great at all. I whatsoever.
Okay.
Number 6, USC plays a game that none of us wanted to stay up to watch and gets a W against Arizona State 42-25. Do we know anything about this game at all?
No, I know that they won. I went to sleep and they won.
It was played in California.
It was that's why we didn't watch it.
Okay. Number 14, Ole Miss takes advantage of 2 key fumbles by number 7 Kentucky quarterback Will Levis and wins 22-19. Muff, now's your time, buddy. Go ahead. Well, you got your time Wednesday, but go ahead and take your shot now.
Oh, Kentucky got with the points, was the winner in the betting world, but they should have been able to win this game straight up.
Yeah.
They had a chance to at least tie it at the end of the game, if not for Will Levis's second fumble of the game that I think was inside the 30 or 40 of Ole Miss. Ole Miss, when this game started, I thought Ole Miss was going to run away with it. Kentucky stayed in there, put up a fight. This was a fun game to watch for me. I watched most of
Kentucky
it.
was kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little in the beginning, correct?
They just weren't firing on all cylinders and on both sides of the ball. So Ole Miss came out and took advantage of it, and Kentucky had to claw their way back in.
Gotcha.
I think this is what Kentucky should have shown. I'm glad they knocked them out early. I'm happy. We don't have to have this Kentucky debate later in the season. So thank you, Ole Miss.
What if Kentucky wins out?
I don't care. I think Tennessee will show enough. I think Ole Miss will show enough that Kentucky's now out of it. That's my opinion. Utah, number 12, keeps moving in the right direction after an opening weekend loss to Florida, beating Oregon State 42-16. And what I believe is the wins that they need to keep up the whole season. These 42-16 wins.
They have to get back in the national attention. It's just going to be how far can they climb, which is going to be dependent on how many of the teams in the top 5 lose before conference championship weekend.
I agree.
I have a hard time keeping faith in Utah, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just I'm still marred from the opening weekend, but of all the teams I think of that have a shot, Utah is on my bubble.
Well, you're going to get a chance to prove it, or you're going to get the chance to see what you want to see, because they have UCLA, number 18 UCLA this weekend, and USC the following weekend. So 2 big ones for Utah. We shall see.
We'll get into
Number 13, Oregon wins against Stanford 45-27. Thoughts on that margin of victory?
So Stanford's not the Stanford of old.
Yeah.
Correct, but should they have won bigger? Should they have kept less points on the board for Stanford? Should it have been 45-16?
I'd have to look and see. I don't remember. I didn't catch this game, so I don't know at what point in the game did Stanford score their points? Were they up 45-10?
Good point.
So looking at the box, Oregon was up 45-17, and they gave up a field goal with 4:22 left, and then a cheap touchdown with 1:03 left.
Yeah.
So Oregon did good then. All right. UCLA remains unbeaten and is a viable contender in the Pac-12, beating number 15 Washington 45-32. Good win for UCLA.
Yeah,
that quarterback is really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Where did he was a transfer, right?
I don't think so.
You sure?
That Thompson Robinson?
I feel like he transferred. Oh, well. Neither here nor there at this point.
Dorian Thompson Robinson keeping this dead air, keep talking.
What are we talking about? Well, oh, you're dead airing. I didn't know what you're saying.
No, he's not a transfer, Muff.
Thought he was.
UCLA all the way. Huh.
That would
All
help.
right. In my happier moment of the weekend, Mississippi State upsets Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M 42-24. Is Texas A&M a joke?
This year they are.
They're
Thank
not,
you, Nate.
Don't think joke's the word I would use. They're definitely not.
Yeah.
They're a disappointment.
They're not as good as everyone thought they were going to be. A joke would mean that we wouldn't even have talked about Alabama having to compete against Texas A&M next week. They're still
I
going
don't
to have to
think we
compete,
do.
but I don't
With
think
a
they need
healthy
Texas.
Bryce Young, I don't think we do.
Whoa! With a healthy, you were all about. Well, Bryce Young might have to play versus Texas A&M.
Yeah, with a healthy Bryce Young, we don't have to worry about it.
But if they're a joke, why do they even need Bryce Young?
Muff, because it's not the starter.
Alabama, even with their backup quarterback, should be able to take care of Texas A&M if they're a joke.
Agreed.
Okay. I sure. Maybe.
I don't think Texas A&M is a joke. I think they're a disappointment. That's what I'm holding. That's my final thought on.
I'm sticking with Joe.
I'm with Alex.
Number 9, Nate and I. Nate, don't flip on me. Stick with me.
I'm
Number
not
19, BYU beats Utah State 38-26. BYU a contender?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I agree. Number 22, Wake Forest beats number 23, Florida State. We knew that was going to happen. We knew the score was going to be close. We couldn't pick this one.
I don't know. 10 points close.
I
But
really
we could have said,
I'll say I really like the quarterback from Wake.
yep. But we could have seen this score 31-21 the other way and been like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Number 24, Pitt seems bound for mediocrity this year, taking a loss from Georgia Tech. Unfortunately, I concur.
Yeah, they're probably going to keep flirting with the top 25 for the rest of the year, but are never going to actually break through like the top 20.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so now on to the Big Ten. I'm going to skip a couple things, do it in my own order. Number 4, Michigan is able to put points up at Kinnick Field and get a win over Iowa, 27-14. What do we think about this game?
I don't think that's as nearly as a convincing win as you would have expected from a number 14.
A win's a win on the road at Kinnick Field to me. What were they favored by? 17?
No, I don't think it was that high.
No, it was definitely more than 13.
Yeah, but it wasn't 17. That was the game before against Hawaii.
Okay. Alex, look
I
back
know
at
this because I have 2 Michigan people that work for me. And I went to talk shit. It wasn't the same.
Why was it not the same?
Because I brought that up.
What, that they didn't cover?
Yeah. It was not the same. I'm with you that a win's a win at Kinnick Field. I thought Iowa looked better than they usually have. I thought that Michigan did better, probably gave the best performance against an Iowa defense.
That's what I was going to say. I think that the thing is Iowa isn't a great team. Iowa's not a great team up. Like, they're good, but they're not a bad team. They just have a really terrible offense.
Yeah.
So
They have people that wear
that
shirts that
winning-
say, I cheer for the punter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So winning this game by 13 to me is a good win because it means that they were able to put up 27 points against an Iowa defense. And yeah, they gave up 14 points, but I mean, that's really 2 touchdowns isn't that many when you're talking about like big matchups like that. I don't think it's an embarrassment or anything.
I can't talk shit on this win. I'll give you that.
10.5 was the spread. I thought it was 17. I was wrong.
Yeah. I
So
went
they
to talk
covered.
shit on it. Yeah. Unranked Purdue takes control of the boat oars and rows number 21 Minnesota out of the top 25 with a win 20-10. Is Purdue the sleeper that we have not talked about?
No.
I mean,
Absolutely
I think
not.
they're a good team, but they're not like a sleeper to win anything big.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. Minnesota's still without their number one running back and the person who makes that boat go, Mohamed Ibrahim. So big loss for them. They expected him to be back this game. He was not. And I think that he was like a game time decision too. I think that took the wind out of the sails even before the game started.
Nebraska gets their first Big Ten win of the year, beating Indiana 35-21.
It's embarrassing for Indiana.
Thank you. Maryland, another team that's gone under the radar, improves. Oh man, I moved that in the wrong spot. Improves to 4-1 with a 27-13 win over Wisconsin. Wisconsin then fires their coach, Paul Chryst, because they're 2-3. That's the rumored. I mean, it hasn't been totally 100% confirmed, but Wisconsin fired their coach. Thoughts, my friends?
That was a little surprising to me, given it was this early.
I think we mixed something up here, Muff, because it wasn't Illinois who beat Wisconsin.
Yeah, Illinois beat Wisconsin. I'm looking here, 34-10.
Yeah. So who'd Maryland beat?
Maryland beat Michigan State.
Yes. So Illinois beat Wisconsin. They fired their coach. Maryland beat Michigan State. I'm shocked that Wisconsin's coach is fired. This is a man who got them to the Big Ten title a couple times.
Yes, but when was the last time that Wisconsin had a not disappointing season?
I guess, how do you define disappointing?
I don't think it's terrible that they've been doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results the last several years.
I agree with that. That's a great assessment.
They've
So
been
I think
how many?
thought,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think they thought abrupt change might spark something, but I am still, that said, I'm still surprised it was this early in the season. If they lost another game, I would be a lot if they lost next week and then they did it, I'd be a lot less surprised.
Now, going forward, do we think Wisconsin tries to find someone to be the Wisconsin, the smash mouth, power mouth, or between the tackles running? Or do you think they're going to try to get with the program like everybody else and try to spread it out?
That's a great question, Nick. I don't know. Because when you recruit for Wisconsin, you're recruiting these powerhouse running backs. That's their bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm on the outside looking in. If I'm a skilled player, it's do I want to go to Wisconsin or do I want to go somewhere that's going to really spread it out and utilize both the run and the pass? And right now, I don't think I'd go to Wisconsin if I was a skilled guy. Because they just seem so one-dimensional. I mean, you said the great running backs. I mean, you can't name me one receiver right now from Wisconsin that's ever done anything.
No, you're absolutely right. And the running backs, I mean, they're getting beat for the big running backs. Ohio State's snagging those guys up. Michigan snagging those guys up. Hell, I think Penn State even gets some of those.
Skill guys?
Running backs.
Yeah, they're the number one in the nation, Nick Singleton.
So, yeah, I think you're right. I think they do need to spread it out. What a weird thing to say about Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've been saying
All
they're
right.
going to do that for so long, and they just can't. That's the problem.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the two teams Muff and I like. I'll throw mine out there first. Number 3, Ohio State dominates Rutgers 49-10. I'm really pissed off about the 10 points that they allowed Rutgers to score. And the end of the game, special team scuffle, both coaches getting up in the grill. I don't think Ryan Day could win a fight against Greg Schiano. I don't know what he was thinking. But let's talk about that. So the punter sees that he can run the ball and get the first down, gets lit up, a late hit out of bounds.
First
Start
off,
fighting.
I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
It was a late hit out of bounds, but I will say that guy tried at the last second to pull back. The problem was that he had
Muff.
a 40-yard.
He
had a 40-yard start. He tried to pull. He didn't throw his body into him. He pulled back and hit him with his shoulder.
Okay, regardless, he lights the punter up. Okay, Greg Schiano comes from the other side to help break up the scuffle, the skerfuffle. Okay, which is fine. Ryan Day gets out there.
Yeah.
I'm on a high state homer, as you know, but I'm at Rutgers players, right? Uh-oh, you guys still got me, right?
Yeah, you went quite crazy there for a little second, but you came back.
All right. Starts yelling at the players, which I don't necessarily understand why Ryan Day's yelling at players. Oh shit. We're gonna go mobile. All right. So he starts yelling at the players. Next thing I know, Ryan Day and Greg Schiano are screaming at each other. What is Ryan Day thinking? Now, everybody's like, Ryan Day is a badass. You know, he's fighting for his player. Got it. And then Greg Schiano, awesome. You know, he's in the mix too. So that's where it should have stayed. It should have died right there. Now, if Ryan Day wants to be like, hey, man, business is business. I got to do what I got to do. And Greg Schiano's like, yeah, me too. We're still friends. We're still cool, right? Do that after the game. He smiles and like tries to cover up his smile. And then gets in and Greg Schiano's ear and is like, listen, man, that punter had no business running that ball. I'll make it up. I'm going to talk to him after the game. That's my bad for yelling at you. That is exactly what happened in center field. Loses all of his street cred.
He had it to start.
All of it. Well,
I mean,
if you're going to start chawing,
he's
yeah.
just afraid of what Greg Schiano was going to do to him in the parking lot if he didn't apologize.
He's going to take his kneecaps some Jersey style.
Well, exactly. That's why I would have apologized too. You got to know where you stand.
Good grief. Anyway, that's what happened in the High State game. Muff, I'm going to let you use the hurricane as your excuse for a shitty win. Go ahead and break that one down.
Penn State wins 17-7 over Northwestern. We spent
And
way
how
too
many
much time
overtimes?
talking. We spent way too much time talking about Ohio State win by 40 points.
Okay. We were talking about a fight that happened. We didn't talk about the win. Let's talk about 8 overtimes it took to beat the high school team.
What?
8 overtimes to beat Northwestern?
Northwestern beat Nebraska. They're really good.
Jim, who's talking about 8 overtimes?
You did.
No, zero discussion of 8 overtimes.
Read the notes.
Alex, back me up on this.
8 TOs.
Oh, I read that backwards. I'm dyslexic a little bit.
Penn State had 5 turnovers in the game, 4 which were fumbles, 1 was an interception. Northwestern had 3.
Got it. My fault. You still should have beat this high school team by a lot more.
Just because Ohio had good weather doesn't mean that the rest of the Eastern Seaboard survived Hurricane Ian. This game was an absolute slog fest.
We muffed a punt because of the hurricane wind.
The hurricane wind?
First of all, there's a big difference between torrential downpours and a hurricane wind.
Oh.
All I'm saying is a win's a win in this one, because this was an absolute just waterlogged field all day, which plays right into Northwestern's favor because they grow their grass really high to slog down the games.
Oh, I knew that was coming up. All right, Muff, whatever you say. Let's move on.
Is Penn State undefeated?
Muff say they need to get Penn State some turf.
No, they don't. No. For all the injuries that happen on turf right now, we don't need turf. Keep the grass.
All right. We're ready for the Big 12.
The Big 12 breakdown. Number 9, Oklahoma State stays unbeaten and in the driver's seat in the Big 12, beating number 16 Baylor 36-25. I think that's a solid win because I feel like those two teams are pretty equally matched, and an 11-point win in an equally matched game is pretty solid. This was, for me, not the surprise that they won, but the surprise to the magnitude that they won. TCU knocks out Dylan Gabriel and then puts the number 18 Oklahoma Sooners, out of their misery, winning 55-24.
TCU, Alex. Is this a team that people? Is this the under the radar team?
It could be. It's. I mean, to beat Oklahoma, regardless of the situation, to beat Oklahoma that bad, 31 points. someone to watch out for. Number 25, Kansas State continued their winning roll. They took out Texas Tech 37-28. Kansas, yes, Kansas is still unbeaten. And they will host game day this week in Lawrence after a 14-11 win over Iowa State, making their entry into the polls at number 19.
Way to
Who
go,
do they play
Kansas.
for game day?
This week.
For game day, it's TCU at Kansas.
Yeah.
Ooh, could be a good one.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I fear that maybe Kansas will be 5-1 after this, but good on them for getting to this point.
Now, the only thing that sucks for Kansas for this is, let me see if it's still, it's a noon kick.
Yeah.
And they're hosting game day.
Right.
Yeah.
They need to flex that out. Somebody needs to do something. At least make it a 3:30 game.
I'm for it.
I agree with you. And unfortunately, WVU loses to Texas 38-20.
Horns up.
I won't say it. Always down.
When does WVU play Penn State?
I
They
know.
don't?
Right.
No, they actually do a non-conference here, Muff, in a few years.
Yeah,
In a few years, I would say not this year.
Hold on, I'm
Thank
going to
God.
Google that.
4 or 5.
Thank God, more high school teams for Penn State to beat on.
First of all, why am I getting attacked?
What? You just
I
played. You
know,
played
I'm
Rutgers
sorry.
this week, Jim. Rutgers.
Penn State's rival.
All right.
This
WVU
technical
plays
difficulties I'm
at Penn
having.
State next year.
Is it next year? Okay.
Yeah, WVU at
Yeah,
Penn
so
State in
that's-
2023, and they host Penn State in 2024.
Because they're Virginia Tech.
Penn State, Morgantown. I say we go to that game. The show will be going to that game
At Morgantown.
at Morgantown.
Wait, Jim, didn't you just say a couple weeks ago you will never set foot in Morgantown?
Sure did.
I did, but for Penn State, I'm going. God, this is awful.
All right. Do we have any, Nate? I think you have a good officiating story for us. Whether or not we have any referee talk for you.
I actually
Yeah,
have some questions for Nate, but this damn thing sucks.
I guess you can call it the highlight or the low light for my officiating this week. We not a complete bench clearing, but we had a brawl on my game Friday night. So
What was your role, Nate?
So my role in that was to stand back, watch, and write down the jersey number of those kids that decided to start throwing punches and leave their bench.
Did you get caught up in the melee to start, or were you on the outskirts?
Right where it initially started was like right in front of me where I had my flag, and then those two kids started going at it. So I stood back and got out of the way, but just kids being kids in a game that at that point was like 35-0. So the one team was also winless. So they were just trying to find any which way to try to get back in the game. And they didn't. It ended up being 42-6 final.
Did you toss any beanbags at him?
No, I did not. I don't want to be like the guy a few years ago in the NFL where he tossed his flag and went to the dude's face mask and gave him vision loss.
Yeah, because the beanbag was in front of his face. You move the beanbag, and you can see again.
You can dodge a beanbag, you can dodge a ball.
Hey, Nate, did you see the one where the referee got stiff armed to the ground?
Yeah, was that it was a college game, right? The guy going down the sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was actually in position. He was well out of bounds. But, I mean, players coming at him, I mean, that's just players' reaction. He's not going to just hold up. But, I mean, good for him to get back up, and really nothing much happened from it, right?
Yeah, and you're part of the field, right? So, like, you
Mhm.
could get hurt in that situation. You get a concussion. You get all that. Who pays your doctor's bills if something were to happen?
That would be on you, really, because, I mean, we're independent contractors for these games, but I have to look more into it. I mean, there is some sort of, I think it's just like general liability, maybe. I can't remember exactly what it is for
Workers'
officials.
comp.
No, not really, because you're assuming the risk whenever you step out on that field. Because
So
I
like,
remember,
if somebody were to blow your knee out,
Well, it's funny you say that because that happened in week 1 or week 2 down in Fairmont. An official was working the sideline and a play came his way, and the term we use is opening the gate to where you turn 90 degrees and let the play run in front of you. And he took about a step or two back, and the ball boy got right up behind him, and he tripped over the ball boy and tore his ACL.
Oh,
No more.
And I know
that sucks.
there's at least one guy that I know of that got out of officiating because he got ran over one too many times.
Is he concussed?
Damn.
I don't know if he was from that or not, but I know it really put a number on his lower back for the amount of times he hit. But it's part of the game. I know I took a bump on Friday, not from that fight, but there was one where this guy's after the play or trying to block through the whistle, and I think one bumped into me, but it happens.
Indeed.
All right.
I didn't. Yeah, there's nothing that really stood out to me. I mean, there's calls that were not the best, but none of them to me were like glaring. Now, I will say today in the Packers Patriots game, they had good old Gene Steratore on there because the Patriots had a delay of game, and then the very next play should have had another delay of game. And Gene Steratore talked through the mechanics of the, looking at the clock, that beat, and then throwing the flag. It was just a bad optic because the first one was the borderline one. Like there was they got it. The Patriots got it back. Maybe a borderline call against them on this one. The next one, the clock hit 0 and actually reset to the 42nd before the play was snapped. And nothing happened on that one. It was just a really bad optic.
But yeah, I know they've talked that one through before where the play clock hits 0 because it's on the back judge to look up and see it hitting 0. And he can't look up and look at the ball at the same time to see if it's being snapped.
Yeah.
So really, you almost get a second once it hits 0.
Right. But I'm saying it hit 0 and then 40 came back on the play clock. Like waiting for the next play, and then it was snapped. It was just, like I said, just bad optic. But I think we've talked through those mechanics before, like you just said. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything that really stood out to me. I mean, like you said, watching that Packers game late when Romeo Doubs thought he had a touchdown or whatever, and I thought that was a horrible challenge by Green Bay. I mean, it was clear and obvious he didn't hold on to the ball.
I was just wondering if they were trying to get extra time. But they could have just called a timeout all the same. That's why I don't.
Yeah, because I saw where Belichick went nuts and threw his headset down, or whatever, and they thought he was just complaining that play clock should have been reset for a simple incomplete. But at least at the high school level, if we don't get the ball, because it's a 40-second play clock, so if we don't get the ball set by 25, we reset to 25. So I don't know if that happened or if that's an NFL thing too.
Is that where they do this?
Yeah, so if you see a guy go like one hand pump, 25, two hand pumps is 40. So yeah, I don't know if that's what happened, but usually you have ball boys down there, and especially in the NFL, you've got guys down the sideline. Any long pass that goes incomplete like that, you got a new ball coming in right now.
Yeah. All right. That wraps up the NFL breakdown, college football breakdown, and the beanbag flop.
Drop. Flop.
This is Mount Massive.
Yodelay.
So it's that time of year, October. You're listening to this on October 3rd. We recorded on October 2nd. I love October. So we are now going to rank our top 5 fall things, because to me, October doesn't start, or fall doesn't start till October 1. So with that, this is our top 5 fall things. I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Number 5 for me is the smell of fall. I love the smell of fall. I love college football. I love planning my kids' costumes. I start in July, so I don't know if that really counts as fall, but like it's a process. I I love Halloween decorating. Just finished that today, October 2nd. Well, I shouldn't say finished, but I put out all my stuff. It'll be a work in progress as well. And then the number one, I love picking pumpkins at the pumpkin patch with my children. It is also an event. I invite you two to my event this year if you want to come pumpkin picking.
Thanks.
I just love fall. Also, Tessa's birthday is the 5th. So happy birthday to Tessa. And I love that part of fall. So that's my top 5.
Merry Christmas, Tessa.
Merry Christmas, Tessa.
Merry Christmas. Yes.
I love how number one for you is like a BWB activity. Do you get some Starbies when you go?
Joe does, I'm sure, but I'm good.
What?
Basic white woman.
Oh, okay. Got ya.
Yeah.
When you started yours, Jim, when you went, I love fall spells. I love college football. I was like, this could be an Eric Church song. We just
pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay. I'm next on the list, so I'll just go here. For me, I'm gonna say, I guess this is an order of sorts. Number 5 is chili. Is just like, fall.
Absolutely.
Chili. Doesn't have to be necessarily during football games, but that's like the time that makes the most sense. I actually made my first batch of chili for the fall today, so it kind of had me thinking about it.
Man.
Cooler weather. As a larger human, I like cooler weather. I don't like cold weather. I like cooler weather.
Yep.
At number 3 for me are crisp morning tea times.
Oh yeah.
Crisp in the way of like low 50s. Just puts a different spin to golf for me.
Like in literal sense, does the ball spin different?
It can, yeah. I mean, it's not going to fly as far typically. Cooler weather, not just because of you're probably not as warm in hitting the ball, but yeah, generally things are going to be a little bit different. Number 2 for me, fires, generally just being out in the cooler evenings, getting a campfire going, sitting around it,
Yes, sir.
having fruit brew dogs. And number 1 is just football generally, college, pro. Give me the opportunity to watch a football game, fall, it's a good day.
Oh yeah.
My list is number 5, leaves, because I was trying to figure out how to say like the outside. So I like being able to be outside and seeing the leaves. I think they're pretty on the trees. I like the smell, like Jim talks about, like the smell of a pile of leaves and like the crunchy noise when you're walking. Like all of that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Or kettle corn.
Which I think is funny. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm going to interrupt. So I think it's funny because the test today, Tessa looked at the ground and was like, red leaf. So when you put leaves on your list, I was like, does Alex look at the ground and go, red leaf?
Yep, pretty much.
I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, I'm going to now from now on.
Right.
4 on my list is kettle corn, like the kind that when you go to like a pumpkin festival or a Goobie Fest or something, and you get that big, like it has to be out of the kettle, like not just like popped bag, the out of the kettle corn. Number 3.
Go back to smells. Again, I don't know why I love interrupting your list, but your list makes me feel real good.
Yeah.
Like the smell of kettle corn in the fall at one of those pumpkin festival or the Ogilvy Fest, it just hits you just right.
Oh yeah. Number 3, winter clothes, because I freaking hate summer clothes. I like being able to wear jeans and boots and a flannel. If I could wear that year round, I would. It makes me happy. Number 2, Oktoberfest beers. I love Oktoberfest beers. They're my favorite, specifically Yingling, but I also enjoy pretty much all of them. And number 1 for me was also football. Going
I
to
love fall. There's
tailgate,
nothing.
just watching.
Yeah.
All good.
Fall makes my life better. Joe would say that I have seasonal depression, and the seasonal depression is whenever the football is not in the air.
I think I have a little bit of it where like I'm sadder in the summer, like the opposite.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like when the football is not in the air, I'm not a happy man.
Yeah.
So,
fair.
Thank you for sharing your fall loves, my friends. I appreciate it. If you folks in the Loyal Listener Club have things you love about the fall, hit us up. Happy fall to you all.
And that was Mount Massive.
Italy. Hee-hoo.
This is Quick Thoughts.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Quick Thoughts. We'll start in the football world, where we're most happy. Jalen Ramsey calls attention to the player safety topic over the weekend, sharing that we shouldn't care more about his socks than player safety. Ramsey has been fined every week now for his socks. What's Rodgers' next move? Jim.
I think Jalen Ramsey should get his money back, and then Jalen Ramsey should donate that money to CTE. What a brilliant point.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
I mean-
Brilliant point.
Muff.
Yeah, so these fines do go to some cause, but I agree with Jim that given the current focus on player safety and especially the concussions, they should probably redirect all of these fines almost exclusively to that. And if the NFL has any type of agreements with other ways, then they should just make it work. But everything fine worthy now should go straight to player safety research in all of its forms.
Like, in all seriousness, and just to wrap this up, if Roger was to say every fine that Jalen Ramsey gets for this, I'm now going to take that fine and put it towards concussion research, would we hate him less?
I don't hate Roger. He's the shield, so you have to have this dislike for him.
Sure.
I mean, just remembering, and I don't want to get too deep in this, what he has brought the NFL through and still made them a more successful business operation. You're not going to make everybody happy. And the whole player safety thing, let's be real, nobody's ever going to get that 100% right.
I agree, but would you give him kudos? Like, you're listening to the player, you're keeping the rule book. Well played.
Yeah, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, that'd be a nice move. Because your question was, what's Rodgers' next move? That would be a cool move.
Moving on, the Pro Bowl is being replaced by the Pro Bowl games this season, pitting the best from each conference against each other. There will be a flag football game played at the end of the week, along with multiple skills challenges throughout the week, citing players not playing the game at full speed and staying away from risk of injury. Do we think this will make us watch this year? Muff?
I will definitely be more interested the first year to watch these games. What are these skills competitions? I would really like to see the old, what was it? The quarterback skills competition where they're trying to toss it at the moving targets. Those things were always interesting. And I think watching that live as part of these Pro Bowl games would be interesting. They've talked about 40-yard dash races, which would be funny seeing the DBs go against the wide receivers, the two people that talk the most trash. But I'd also like to see a lineman 40 race. I think that would be even more hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think there's a way to do it. Jim?
We've been talking about that for a while. I think it'll be cool until that flag football game happens and then somebody still tears something. Playing flag football, and then it's we suck again.
That's probably fair. All right. Bill Belichick continues his hilarious conversations with the media this week, telling reporters that he's not a doctor and can't comment on Mac Jones' injury or return date. Should they just give up on trying to get info from him at this point? Jim?
No, because he's funny. We should keep asking him the questions, and he should keep giving us the answers. I'm okay with it. I think Nick Saban probably needs to go back to the Belichick school because he got played out by the female reporters for the second time. Bill Belichick needs to give classes on how to make these media things to his advantage.
Muff?
Right. I want to have Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin give a master class in press conferences from the two different perspectives of how they handle the media. They don't do it the same way, but they both handle media really well. I agree with Jim in the fact that no, we need to keep asking Bill these questions because they get these hilarious sound bites all the time.
Yeah.
And how about Mac Jones in his interview, by the way? Everybody was lighting him up because they said he just looked like he was high as hell.
Maybe he was.
Probably on painkillers.
Probably.
Maybe he's with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he's
Talking about quarterbacks, the Brett Favre saga continues as information comes out that Others may have been involved in the moving of near $5 million in welfare dollars in the direction of building a volleyball facility to the University of Southern Mississippi. Total dollars are rumored to be about $77 million. The other famous name is now former Mississippi football star Marcus Dupree. Muff?
Marcus Dupree, 30 for 30, the whole 30 for 30 thing about him. Was a shining star in high school and then just kind of fizzled out after a year at Mississippi, I believe. So I don't think any of this is new, but I don't think I realized the total amount of funds at any point. But now that I'm seeing it's at like $77 million, it was funneled welfare dollars to other things, including the 5 or 7 that went to the University of Southern Mississippi volleyball facility, which is I think where doesn't Brett Favre have a kid that goes to school there? Yeah. So this is just, I'm just curious who else is going to be involved, because it's not just Brett. Marcus Dupree is just, I think, a deflector name to get some of the heat off of Brett. I'm waiting for the full story to blow, and I'm waiting for Brett to finally get his due in this.
I'm confused as to what we did break the whole story the first go round. The $1 Million Man and his son was involved. There were other celebrities involved, and then it kind of went away. And the $1 Million Man and his son got out of it. And what volleyball facility are we building for $77 million?
Only 5 or 7 went to that.
77 went to their pockets.
$77 million total is what's rumored to be what was taken away from its intended target or goal.
It's all out there floating. But there were a lot of people involved, and then some people are getting out of it. Like the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, is now free and clear, and so is his son. This is a very sticky situation, and the only consistent is Brett Favre. So Brett Favre should be person non grata, and he should probably do some jail time. That's all I know.
Every circus needs a ringleader.
Yeah, exactly.
Baseball. Aaron Judge ties Roger Maris at 61 home runs this past week, the 7th most in a season, steroids included. Did we watch any of this willingly this week? Jim?
No.
I know your answer. Muff?
I did not.
No, I watched none of it willingly. I already said he got walked every time that he popped on my screen. He got walked. And it wasn't even like he got a pitch to hit. It was like they were pitching to Barry Bonds.
He struck out once when I watched it.
Yeah. It's like they're pitching to Barry Bonds again, where it's like, oh, don't give him one ball because this is going to be, and does this come back to nobody wants to, like as Jim has said in the past, be the asterisk to this? Or I don't think they were playing against any teams that are in the playoff hunt. So what are we doing?
So there was a game, he was playing Saturday, and it was the exact date and time, or maybe just the time, because they showed the clock, that Roger or somebody hit his 60-second, or somebody hit their 60-second. And it was the exact time. Whoever it was the exact time. And at that point, I thought of the show and what we talk about. And if I'm the pitcher and I know it's the exact time that somebody else broke the record, or this guy could break the record, I'm just gonna loft him one and let him break the record, because that's a different asterisk. That's a cool one. I'm giving this guy his home run at the exact time he's supposed to have it. That's cool.
I still think it's hilarious that we're making this big deal, and he's a top 10 home run hitter in the season, but he's not even top 5 ever.
But he's not juiced.
We don't know that.
Thank you, Muff. That's what I need to hear. You're right.
All right, moving out of baseball. Basketball world, Kevin Durant has asked that we move past the offseason and all the drama that he started by asking for a new GM and head coach in Brooklyn. Is he serious? Muff?
Kevin Durant he's hysterical. He makes the biggest fuss over all of these things in the offseason. He tries to get Steve Nash fired. He tries to get the GM fired. He tries to get traded. He tries to do all of these things. Then once the season starts, he's like, whoa, it's time to focus in, people. We need to stop talking about the off season. Well, then, Kevin, why don't you stop trying to get people fired during the whole off season so we don't have to ask you questions? It's just why the preseason? The preseason is like when everybody feels everything out. This is when you ask those questions because it's like the first time the media has a true audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now's the time. Kevin, you can't just shut them down.
Yeah.
You sought them out. You sought them out during the entire offseason to push your stories, and now you're like, no, shut this down.
Jim?
Everything Muff said. I really, that's the best point. I don't know what else to say. I honestly think this show should have like some kind of censure on Kevin Durant. We should do something. Like, we have a list of our guys. Kevin Durant should be the opposite. He's the antithesis of not our guy.
It's fair. Keeping with the basketball theme, the Lakers are taking a new approach. Instead of let Russ be Russ, it's now, according to Anthony Davis, Russ, you get it, go. Braun, you get it, go. I get it, and go. Whoever, and that's been very helpful to all of us. Jim?
And it's my turn.
Yeah. You love basketball. Come on.
For the first time, I'm going to go on record since basketball season's, may begin. I don't know. I don't know when this third season starts. For the first time in my illustrious podcast career, I agree with Muff that this geriatric punch is clueless, and the Lakers are just taking a shot in the dark.
Muff, what say you?
I appreciate that Jim's finally jumped on board with the geriatric Lakers. This is no different than the NBA game as a whole. Nobody plays team basketball. It's all one-on-ones. So how is this different than anything that has ever been done over the past 10 to 15 years in the NBA? They're not rethinking any strategy that hasn't already been going on.
They owned up to the fact of doing it, I guess.
Like, I wish, this is what I wish, okay? I wish I had been in the room. And, like, they come to ownership, and I wish Muff had been the owner. I come to Muff, and I say, hey, Muff, last year our plan was we're going to give the ball to Russ, and Russ is going to do Russ things. Yes, I'm Anthony Davis, and yes, he's LeBron. But that was our plan last year. This year, whoever gets the ball, we're going to do our thing. Does that sound good, owner Muff? So I can see, because you got to figure like ownership's kind of logical, like Muff. So I can see the ownership be like, whatever you guys say, let's go basketball games. And I can see a disappointed face like Muff and being like, I can't believe I own this shit.
I would say we're going to hire a new position, and it's the person who gets to talk to all of this bullshit before it ever gets to me.
Right.
That's all I want. I want a buffer for somebody to call them idiots before they get in here so that they have to rethink their strategy.
Right.
And then they'll come and say, we need to fire this person. He called us an idiot. I was like, was he wrong? Well, we think he's wrong. Well, I think he's right. So you can leave now.
Yeah, get out of here.
All right, back on the rails. Soccer. At least 125 fans have been killed at a soccer match in Indonesia after police fired tear gas, causing chaotic scenes where fans were trampled upon and suffocated, making it one of the deadliest sports events in history. Attention immediately focused on the police use of tear gas, and witnesses described that police beat them with sticks and shields before shooting canisters directly into the crowds. How does an international sport like soccer navigate these situations and take control over how fans interact with the game? Muff.
Is it me? Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank God.
Right, international game. Like, who is the governing body? Yes, UEFA, all of these like large soccer governing organizations are gonna have to come out and say something. But when it comes down to it, a lot of these larger events and issues happen in countries, and this is their own country's league. So yes, they're governed by X, Y, or Z, but how does this is not like, you've got like NATO, and you've got like all of these other like political organizations that monitor the world's bad people, bad countries, bad situations. This is soccer. Like, are you going to go tell a country they have to redo their whole stadium? They're going to be like, sorry, this is our country. We're going to do it how we want to. And a lot of these fans in these situations are coming from, at least that I have seen, coming from situations in, we'll say, less well-off countries as far as financially. So you've got a large number of people wanting to fill in and watch a game because this is like the highlight of their week. Not just because they may be not as financially well off, but just because this is the only ticket in town, right? And they're heated, they're emotional, and stupid stuff like this happens because it's not like going to an NFL game. We've got all the security on the sidelines. You have all these people probably being wanded on the way in. Like, I just have to believe that soccer is never going to be able to get control of this because of how international the game is in the locations where these games happen.
Jim?
All of Muff's points are very valid. I think to some degree, there needs to be an understanding of crowds across the board. And I think there needs to be an understanding of, like, maybe we don't shoot tear gas because they're going to trample each other. Like, there's got to be some human logic in this and, like, human decency. And I think as Americans in their own sports events, like, while Muff's point of we want people and we see these things, there were fights between frats at college football games.
Was it the Ole Miss game?
I think so. And, like, we do have the potential here in America for these fights to break out. And we, as the general public, need to figure out how we're going to respond to it, because I don't think we're too far off from shooting tear gas and sending the riot squad into some of these games, a la the Tennessee Ole Miss game last year.
Mm-hmm.
We got to make sure this shit doesn't happen in general. And America needs to look at shit like this and go, okay, how do we not do what they did?
Yeah. How do we avoid that?
Yeah.
All right. And the last topic, a sport that we have not frequented, and I don't know if it had ever been a quick thought category. Probably not. Fishing. Controversy with the rods and reels this past week as the team of Chase Kaminsky and Jake Runyon are called out at attorney weigh-in, and the allegations were proven correct as they were stuffing fish with weights and fish fillets to get an advantage. In a sport where a fraction of ounces can win you tens of thousands of dollars, where does this fit in with other cheating scandals? Jim?
So first off, shout out to the Conrads. Hillary and her husband were the ones who turned me onto this, and I promised them a shout out for sending this to us.
There you go.
What in the hell? These guys are going to go to jail for this shit because it's like serious fraud. We're talking $300,000 these guys won last year, and it's possible they were doing this shit last year. Stuffing fish, like, according to what I've done my research on, 5 fish that they weighed in at this championship had an advantage of 8 pounds. They stuffed 8 pounds into 5 fish, and it won them that tournament. And they have been suspect of doing this for over a year and a half. They've robbed people of thousands of dollars. In terms of cheating bastards, these guys are officially the top of the cheating bastard scale for me. Like, flat out just blatant cheating bastards. And I know it's fishing and, like, but, like, the cojones on these guys to drop fucking lead weights and, like, big ass lead weights and then stuff the fish fillet so, oh, they won't catch us. Unreal. Crazy.
This has to be like the most low-tech cheating scandal we've heard about in so long, right? Because we've talked about butt plugs. We've talked about offline. We talked about the woman in the poker hand that was having some signal sent to her. I don't think that was butt plug related, but
no, the Conrad sent that to us too.
Yeah,
they're on it.
Yeah, so we had an offline conversation about that. And then, the Houston Astros, aka the Cheating Bastards, were probably one of the more high-tech, right, in using all sorts of cameras and other. Well, that's how they got all the information. The way they delivered it was very low tech. They beat on a trash can, but the way they got all of that was very high tech. Yeah, this is up there. This is up there with like betting scandals, like point shaving, and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's just so blatant, which is like what's wild to me, I guess.
Yeah, and in fishing, I have to imagine, right? This is a very honorable sport.
Yeah.
Right? You're left
Yeah.
out. They don't have cameras on you 24/7 while you're out there on the water because they
Right.
just expect you to follow the rules without much supervision. Apparently, these guys are just dropping lead weights, and I'm curious of how people came to the conclusion that this maybe was happening, and then they're like, "Oh, it definitely is happening." Like I just want to know the
progression that I'm still researching it. So they had been like kind of over the scales, like, oh wow, those are some big fish. Those are some big fish.
Mm-hmm.
This last go round, the walleye that they had caught to be 8 pounds over with these 5 fish, and then to look at these fish and go, where the hell is those 8 pounds at?
Mm-hmm.
Like they tempted fate so much that it was ridiculous. Like they looked at the fish, they looked at the scales, and it was like, where's the 8 pounds, fellas? Like that was how blatant it was. And I don't think they thought, like, we've gotten away with it for this long. What are we doing? It was unreal. So I just think they thought they were going to tempt God again.
Well, I guess that's that. Got busted.
Crazy.
That wraps up this week's Quick Thoughts. I am going to give Jim the win this week for having friends that brought along an interesting story about fishing.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm not giving points anymore. I'm just going to decide at the end who my winner of the week is.
All right. We'll take that.
Thanks to the Conrads, who we hope are subscribed to us on YouTube, because we are looking for how many subscribers by the end of the month, gentlemen?
100.
100. A prize.
Million.
If we get to that, we will get a plaque, Jim.
We will start
we will also probably be able to quit our jobs. If we're being honest.
Yeah.
So we can only get there with the help of everybody, the help of you, the listeners, telling the people to make things happen. Let us know if you have any topics you want us to get into, like the Conrads did. Let us know if you or anybody you know would like to be a guest, bring something interesting to the show. And to do this, remember what you have to do, everybody. Tell a friend. Make a friend. Be friend.